You're listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show, where wealth is empowering, purpose is crucial, and high vibes are non-negotiable. And now, here's your host, certified business coach and practical woo strategist, Sara J Loureiro.
Buenos dias. Welcome back to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. I am coming to you from my beautiful home where I'm literally looking at the ocean. So grateful for this view and so grateful for this life. And just wanted to riff with you for a second on how to make 2025 your best year yet. I will kind of walk you through a little bit of what got me to this experience that I'm in right now and what I specifically recommend for planning out your next year, when you should start doing it, when you need help, or when you should start looking for help, all the things. And this also, so the day that I'm recording this episode, hopefully we're actually going to be releasing it tomorrow, I think, because my podcast editor just told me I don't have any new podcast episodes up and running right now. So hopefully you're getting it tomorrow. I also have some incredible new podcast guests coming up. But today marks one official full year of us moving to the beach. And I could cry just talking about how grateful I am for this experience. I feel like I've gained so much more of my life back. My husband and I are now surfers. So we are longboarders. We are loving this sport. I feel like I have so many more friends who have a lot more in common with me. And I'm just so grateful for their friendships. My son has so many international friends here as well. And just been really great. It's just been really, really great to follow your dreams and follow your gut. And, a lot of people thought we were crazy when we said, we're actually not moving back to Toronto. We're not moving to Vancouver. We're not staying and living right beside my in-laws. We're going to be moving somewhere completely different because we just got a hint that this was going to be a great place. And we were really only supposed to live here for 6 months. It was actually supposed to be a place where we just waited out the Canadian winter, and instead we ended up making this our full-time home. Now, a reminder for you and also for me that when other people tell you that something is crazy and that you're out of your mind, it probably is a really, really good decision for you, especially if your gut is telling you that this is the right next step. Can't begin to explain to you how many times I have had that and how many people have said, wow, that doesn't seem like that's the best choice, because it's not the best choice for them. And I want to let that sink in, because it was never the best choice for them, because they were too afraid to do it themselves. And we did it, and we've been here for a year. We're probably going to be here for many, many more years. And my husband doesn't want to leave. I don't know if I'm ever going to get or convince him to move back to Canada, because he's just so, so happy here, and his mood and what he's done with his life has also really changed. And so it's a wonderful, beautiful reminder to do the things that you want to do, even if they don't make sense to other people. And we're here, and I can't believe we've been here for a year. I remember coming here thinking, well, maybe we won't stay for that long. We didn't really know what to expect. But I remember the first day that we came into our first rental home and just remembering how freeing it felt and how exciting it felt. And here we are a year later in a home that we purchased, and it just feels just as exciting because there's so much more to explore living in this area, and just so grateful for it. So happy 1 year anniversary to me for living on the beach, or living by the beach, should I say. I'm not quite in a beach home right now. And let's dive into making 2025 your best year yet. So usually we love starting to think about the new year in and around the end of December is for a lot of people what they think and feel. But I would argue that we want to actually think, and not only think, but also plan for the new year way before that. I would say any time in October or November of the year prior. So we're kind of at the end of November here. It's a little bit late for me, technically, to be giving you this episode. However, I know that for a lot of you guys, you're probably like, no, let's bring it on, right? Like I'm thinking about 2025. October was way too early for me. Like let's do this. Let's get this started. So here's one thing that I've learned that has dramatically helped me frame my years in business. And it is that when I plan my years from a data perspective and just from an ROI and like just from a strategic systematic perspective, I am usually not as likely to hit big goals in my business, which I know might sound crazy because you think, okay, well, systems and data, that's essentially what you need. And it is, but allow me to explain this a little bit better for you guys. So if I lead with the data and the masculine and the structures for my business for the next year, that's actually not what drives me the most. And that's not what gives me the most energy. That's actually something that gives me a little bit more anxiety and stress, in all honesty. And if I put my goals in that bucket first and have that bucket be the priority, then I'm not actually exercising my creative health. And I'm not really stepping into my creative habits. And what I find is that when I step into my creative habits first, and when I design a year from creative habits first and from who it is that I'm becoming first, I'm so much more likely to succeed. And I'm so much more likely to get the ROI, to get the numbers, to have all the numbers dialed in. So the first thing I'd love to ask you about 2025 is, who do you want to become? Because it's so much less about how much money you want to make and so much more about who it is that you're becoming as a process of making that money. So who is it that you want to become next year? What do you know that you need to shed from your current self? What types of blaming and victimization do you need to let go of in order to step into that new version of yourself? What does that look like for you? And I think that these are such helpful, valuable questions that a lot of the times we don't actually take the time to integrate because we don't understand that. Let's say, for example, if you desire a $200K a year business next year or a $500K business next year, that there are going to be a lot of parts of you that you will need to shed. There's a lot of growing that you'll need to do that is far beyond the growth that anyone you know has to do. And that's very hard. It is very, very hard. I'm not going to lie. And when I started getting over the 200K and 300K mark in my business, a big thing that I needed to start shedding was a lot of people pleasing, especially around team, because I realized that I need to hire A-list team members who are going to be behind me 110% of the time. And if someone isn't like that, then I need to let them go. And it's very difficult to think that way because most people don't think that way. Most people don't only think about, okay, well, what's the best for this company? What's the best for me and my peace of mind? Most of us actually think about other people first, and we put other people first because it's such a beautiful human behavior, right? Everyone loves that. Everyone loves someone who puts everyone else first. But when you own a company and when you are leading a team, you really do need to put the company first. You need to put the team, the business first, because as you put the team and the business first, you actually end up putting everyone first because you create a better business model. And with a better business model, you create better profits and you also create better economic conditions for people to thrive. And if you're listening to this right now and you're just like, damn, I didn't even know about any of those things or how any of those things could coexist. Well, this is the art of owning a business that is much bigger than you, is understanding these aspects and understanding these aspects about yourself as well. One of my very first mentors once told me that, and this was right after I got a friend of mine, or a quote unquote friend, someone who I thought was a friend, who ended up just completely shaming me back when I was doing yoga and wellness coaching. And I was so upset. And I went to my mentor about it. And she was just like, I understand that you're hurting right now. And I understand that this is so such a huge impact on your life. But also keep in mind that you want to grow still. You want to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And there's no cap. There's no limit to how much you grow. So you're going to have so many more problems than this one. You're going to have people asking you for refunds. You're going to have people canceling things. You're going to have people not being able to make their payments. You're going to have team members quit. You're going to have team members demand things of you. And you're going to have all of these things on top of online internet trolls. So who are you going to be in each one of those moments? And this stuck with me. And this is why I think that coaching is so valuable and so effective, because she was literally my coach back in 2016, which was 8 years ago. And still remember so many of the lessons that she taught me to this day. And, I really loved her for that, because all of the above have happened now. Because, I've been in business for over 8 years. And I've scaled my business quite a bit. So of course, all of the above is going to happen. It's a volume thing, right? The more people you have, the more haters that you have. And I always remember that. It's like, this is a rite of passage for business. Who are you going to become in all of these different scenarios? And some people can be very emotionally reactive to things that happen to them. And you need to learn how to balance that emotional reaction that you have. Because if you don't, that's your business reputation that you carry around with you. And so if you know that you're that type of person who crumbles under that type of social pressure, then maybe your goal of hitting 500K next year needs to also be a goal of, I'm going to create better boundaries for myself. I'm going to fully step into the role of CEO. I know who I want to become. And as a result of that, I know the things that I need to shed in order to get there. There might even be people in your life who you're listening to on a daily basis where that person doesn't deserve that rent-free space in your head anymore. And you might think to yourself, well, Sara, I can't let go of that person. That person's been my friend since high school, or we've been like best buddies, for life. That's my girl, or, that's my person. I'm not going to let go of them. But is keeping them in such close contact good for your growth? Who do you keep in close contact with you that is not good for your growth? Think about that. Because that's another way that you want to plan your 2025 is, do I need to limit contact with anyone? And then also, once you limit contact with people, once you decide who you're going to become, once you decide what you need to shed, ask yourself, what do you need to open up to? And that's when the gorgeous planning parts of 2025 come in, because then you get to ask yourself, okay, well, what are the different aspects of business that I need to tweak? So let's say for you, you might not know who your ideal client is, or you might understand that you have a messaging problem in your business and you need to attract a higher caliber client. Okay, well, how are you going to do that? What type of support are you going to get to do that? Are you going to do a competitor analysis? Are you going to hire a coach who's really good at messaging? How are you going to make sure that you get the absolute right messaging to come into your business consistently, right? Why haven't you had better messaging in the past? Is it because you were afraid? Is it because of who you were as a human being? Because a lot of people are afraid to niche down. They're afraid to talk about the same thing over and over and over again. So you need to become the person who talks about the same thing over and over and over again, right? If you have 5 different ideas in your head all at the same time, all the time, then, and you know that the version of yourself that is making 500K a year has one thing in their head and they prioritize that one thing, how are you going to let go of the rest? Who do you need to become to let go of the rest? What type of practices do you need to have in your life to let go of the rest? If you know that you need a bigger community next year, and if you know that right now your posts are really only going out to your best friend and your mom and your aunt, then you need to start having a lead generation strategy. Maybe you have a content strategy where you're posting a significant amount of times every single week and you're getting the right stuff out there for the right people. Maybe you need to start working on ads. When I started working on ads, that's when I doubled my income from one year to the next. It was ads because they got me in front of the best people faster. And so I just constantly kept on getting in front of the right people over and over and over again. And it allowed me to really explode my business. Do you know that you're not very good at sales? That was another thing that I really needed to step into. I needed to become the person who's really good at sales. I was not good at sales at all. You guys, I was horrible at sales, and I needed to step in and I needed to really refine my selling skills, especially this year. This year I didn't have a closer. I only recently hired a closer again because I was like, no, I can't train someone else on something that I'm not really, really good at myself, or else I'm just going to spend way too much money trying to train other people on things that I'm not super confident in. And guess what? I became really confident in my ability to sell. And now I'm very confident in teaching someone else how to do that. And the reason why I became so much more confident in it myself is because I allowed myself to invest in that skill set. I knew I needed that skill set moving forward. And one of the mentors that I hired this year that was just absolutely incredible with me, she told me, to get to your new level, to get to every new level, there's a new skill that you need to master. It's not just about manifesting and stepping into things or like deciding your numbers. It's also, what are the skill sets that I lack? What are the things that I don't know yet? What are the things that I know are going to hold me back? And how can I invest in receiving those skill sets, in getting better at what I do? Maybe you need to become a better coach. Maybe if you're doing a done-for-you service, maybe you need to get better packages. There's something that's holding you back, I can tell you that. And it's usually a part of you. It's either a part of what you're refusing to let go of, or it's a part of a skill set that you have not mastered yet, but that you can master with the right support. And so for me, for 2025, what I'm choosing to step into is mastering the art of hiring better people. Because when I can hire better people, I can create the work environment that I can truly thrive in, versus a work environment that someone else is trying to choose for me because they're trying to put their own perspectives and their own philosophies and their own ideologies on top of mine. And so when I can create a really great work environment where I have the right people working in the right places with the right skill sets, it allows me to then thrive. It allows me to go surfing in the middle of the week. It allows me to take payments without me necessarily needing to be on sales calls. It allows me to actually put more time into my client work and make sure that my clients are getting better results. These are all things that I've learned over the past year. We've taken a look at a lot of client feedback from client feedback forums, and we've realized, okay, well, the lead generation strategy that we had in our program, a lot of them were having a lot of trouble with it. So what did we do? We revamped the lead generation strategy. Now we have the options more clearly defined. They were already there, but we had them more clearly defined in the program that I have, so that now people understand all of the different options and exactly how to put together all of those different options. That's only going to make the program better. It's only going to make the client results better. But we had to go through learning and growing pains in order to get to that point. And so I'm here right now saying, oof, we've learned so much throughout this past year. I had to become a different person. And sometimes you don't even know the things that you need to shed until you step into that bigger version of yourself. And you're like, whoa, I didn't realize that these are the problems that I was now going to have. And to understand that and to also help yourself with that and to learn new things is just, you just end up growing so much more as an entrepreneur than you ever would if you were in your 9-to-5. I can promise you that. So whether you're just starting out or whether you are like really wanting to scale, these are the things that I find that really help me. And then of course, anytime that you want something to happen for yourself and your business, you don't plan for January in January. Okay. If you're planning in January and you're executing in January, that's actually going to give you fruit in February, March, not in January. So we're not going to wake up on January 1st and say, cool, I'm going to do a launch in January. No. You start your January launch at the end of November. Okay. You start your new year planning in December. You start bringing people in for your January launch in mid-December. There are so many of those things that we need to keep in place, which is why now is the perfect time for you to go all in with your business. There's so many people who think, oh yeah, well, January is the time that I'm going to do it. No. December is such a lucrative month for coaches. And so many people don't know that because they check out in December. But if you start in December, you will be ready for January, and then you'll have a lucrative December and you'll have a lucrative January, versus if you start in January, you don't have December or January. Then you're still only starting making money in February. You just lost out on 2 really, really profitable months for yourself and 2 profitable months for your business. So what are you going to decide today? Are you going to go all in? Are you going to actually make next year the biggest year in business yet? Or are you going to wait? And I challenge you right now, as soon as you get off of this podcast, what is the one thing that you need to do in order to make 2025 your biggest year yet? And go out and do that thing. Do it before you try to convince yourself of not doing it, because that is going to be the key to your success. So I'm gonna give you that opportunity right now to just pause this. We're going to end this podcast very shortly. Go out and do the thing. Start now. Don't start at the end of December. Don't start in mid-December. Start right now. Get everything done right now. And you will see just how much more profitable you can be and just how much more prepared you're going to be for your business in January. All right. You've got this. I believe in you. You believe in you. Let's go out there and get it. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. If you enjoy our show and would like the show notes and free goodies about how to grow your online coaching business, head over to sarajloureiro.com for more information. We hope you'll tune in next time.